And we are back with race 4 of the Waterford Wednesday Criterium series. This is the Cat 4-5 race. Weather was again not great, and what we ended up having was a pretty limited field, only 12 riders in this Cat 4-5 race today. So going into it, the expectation was there's going to be some breaks that could stick relative to the last couple of weeks, and wanted to make sure we were in those if we could be. So the plan going into this one was going to be similar to other ones. Jason was going to attack, and my goal was to go with anybody who went with him. And so I'm looking for his attack early on, and something that was different about this race relative to the other ones, it felt like a really hard start the first half a lap or so. So you can see the front guy just goes right away, just on his own. And so Jason goes. I got to work around a couple people, and I want to be with him. And so really pushing really early on, already up to in the 900s in the first corner of the race. But I get back up there, and this pace really just kind of keeps going. It wasn't just the first corner, but really again that first half a lap or so just felt really hard. Okay, so we've come up over the hill, and at this point now the race can settle in, but it's definitely going to settle in a little bit different than all the other races did. At this point, the group is mostly all together as far as I could see at the time. Everyone was able to make this. Again, it was a hard start, so that's a little bit surprising. There may have been one or two people who got dropped off the back right away. I'm not sure, but again, at this point, what we have is everyone would come together, and there'd be kind of that washing machine happening where people would be swirling around, moving front to back. But this one, just a little bit different. This guy in the front is gonna really do all of the work for most of the race until the split ends up happening. So we're coming through. I'm fourth wheel. Jason's second wheel. We are gonna have in about one more lap, one attack attempt again by the front guy, as no one wants to pass him. No one's looking to do any pulling, and it'd be a little bit of excitement. So we'll jump to that here. Okay, and so we jumped ahead one lap. You can see the guy in the front pulls off way to the left, and no one's looking to pass him. No one's making any moves. We all just go right back behind him, and that's when he attacks. So he's attacking from that very front position, something, again, just hadn't seen in the first three races. And so now we all hit it to stay with him. Again, just looking to split the group up. It doesn't quite happen here. Everyone, again, ends up kind of coming right back together. But, just interesting to see the guy on the front be the one who's making the moves. Every time before it was somebody attacking from mid pack, trying to catch people by surprise. But again, so just back in the exact same position we were before, and we ended up staying more or less in this position with the same guy in the front for the next lap or so. So we'll jump right ahead again. Okay, so we've jumped one lap ahead. We actually did have one rider jump up in front of the group, in front of this rider in the dark and light blue. And Jason dropped back, so I assumed that meant he was going to be attacking at some point, wanted that element of surprise. And here we go. We'll see him come through on the left side here. And our rider, who is doing most of the leading in the last first 3 or 4 laps, he ends up following, and I follow him. Again, just another attempt to break up the group, being so small, and try to make sure that both of us are in that front split. So Jason goes. And so after Jason pulls off, this rider kind of accelerates again and does his own attack. I follow him. So he's going to attack all the way through this corner. Nice strong effort. So this is another, kind of attack that it didn't totally create a split of just a couple people in the front. Maybe it dropped one or two people off the back. Certainly, I think this race, more than some of the other ones, did end up splitting up the field and stringing people out a little bit. But most of the people are still here in the front. The one thing I did do a better job of in this race, I really put an emphasis on, was looking backwards. It's obviously hard to tell that from a GoPro on the handlebars, but definitely did a lot more looking back just to understand, did we create a split? Should I put in any effort? Really emphasize that. So, and that helped. That helped know when to go, when not to. So we're coming up over here again. Like I said, a good number of the riders are all still together, and we'll end up keeping this exact formation for a couple of laps. This rider on the front, who's been doing a good portion of the work, just hangs out on the front, puts out a nice hard effort, nice steady effort, and no one tries to contest him. So we'll skip ahead. Okay, so we've jumped ahead 2.5 laps, and this is the first preem lap of the race. So we're coming around that corner into the start-finish line, and we're going to have a couple of riders shoot to the right and try to contest that preem. And really, again, with this small of a group, it's also the trying to create that split. And so you see one rider go, and then Jason go too, so I go to follow him, try to get right back on his wheel. Another question, do we create a split here? So we see the first rider slow down after getting the preem. Jason keeps going. Again, just trying to create that split, trying to make sure that we're both in that front group. And it's not really going to go that well for us, unfortunately. So we're coming up to the one hill on the course. Jason, again, he went for that preem. He's definitely put out some effort. And so as we come around this corner, the question is, did we already create the split, or is there going to be any counter attacks? And what we're going to see is Jason pulls off, and coming up this hill, we're going to have the next attack. And here we go. Someone we haven't really seen on the front, someone who's been sitting in the back, in the wind, makes their move finally. And again, nice hard effort. I just tried to get on that wheel. I didn't put out enough of that big of an effort during the preem. I was just trying to stay on wheels, so I felt good here, good enough to jump on this wheel. But I definitely end up making a mistake here. So what ends up happening is it's a group of 3 of us. We have the rider in front of me, and then the rider who was on the front the entire time also made it into this group. And really, this is where my mistake is, doing any effort. I'm a sprinter. I probably could beat both of these guys in a sprint. They're both fairly small, at least relative to my 200 pounds. And so, I take my poles throughout this lap on the front. And these guys they're not as tired as me. They're definitely in better shape. And what it feels like is, I take a pole and then they counterattack. It's not like we're rotating the pole. It's like I take a pole, I jump off, and then they just hammer it. And again, that could just be because I'm really tired. And so a pole feels like a counterattack. It definitely could be. It could be that they're working, with me, for sure. And I was just tired, so it felt more painful than it was. But it just felt so hard. I take the non-polling felt as painful as the polling. You see, I'm in the 300s, 400s, sitting second wheel. I'm trying to pull at 300, 400 when I'm on the front. So it's just, I was exhausted. And so, but I'm in the selection. That was the whole point, was, we wanted ideally for both of us to be in that selection, but but only I made it in, just again because Jason attacked that first one and got counterattacked. Hard to stay with the group, certainly. So now we're coming around one lap after that preem, and once again on the front. I only took a very short pull that time. Again, he's just leaving me. It's just they're attacking. They want it to be an even smaller group. They can tell I'm hurting, and this is the one I just I'm jump into the 4 or 500s. Just want to get back on that wheel, but they're going. They're trying to drop me. They know I'm hurting. There's no reason to keep me, and so they do exactly what they should have. I should have sat third wheel the entire time, made them attack. You see another just hard effort, hard to stay with it. I'm done. I should have sat third wheel, made them do all of the work, and just followed the counterattacks. And I would have been in a good position to really stay with this group for the rest of the race, I think. But I didn't do that. I took some pulls. At least took one pull. Definitely shouldn't have done that. So now we're coming up to that hill effort. And, I just can't get my power back up. I get it up into the 500s, but it's not enough. They're just gone. And so it's just, so frustrating to once again be the person who makes it into a split and then get dropped. That's what happened. I think it was week 2, same sort of thing. And so I'm just frustrated here again. And we're going to have one more rider here come to the side of me. He also was, kind of chasing that group, trying to get on. They just, they ended up dropping both of us. And so, we get together. I think, a little bit of a hope that we can chase them back down with the two of us, but it's not going to happen. We're going to end up dropping back to Jason and one other rider. So we end up being a group of 4 chasing this group for the rest of the race. And we don't end up actually ever catching that group of 2. They stay away for the rest of the race. And so we're just going to skip ahead. There were no attacks or counterattacks. We're just going to skip to the last lap of the race. Okay, and we've came into the final lap of the race. So, coming into this final lap, a group of 4, my goal is be third, fourth wheel, going into that sprint and try to win the actual sprint. If Jason's there, if Jason's doing a lead out, maybe I'm just second wheel, just right on his wheel. But, also looking for attacks from this group, right? The rider here in front of me, he's certainly in other races gone early to try to win it off a break and not have to do the sprint. But also Jason, if Jason's going to go, Jason would look to do an attack a little bit early and see if it sticks. And so looking for that as well. So here he starts to speed up, and I think maybe he's going to do a break, but he doesn't. So I'm just sitting right on his wheel. This is the guy who I'm expecting to attack, and so I just want to be kind of best positioned to go with him early on in the lap. Coming up to this hill again, it's another spot where people do attack, so just want to be ready. And we see the effort here, but we actually see it's just because Jason is also attacking. So, at this point, I think Jason sits back up. I think just getting people going. And then what you'll see is as he slows back down. Down, you end up getting riders who go in front of him, which is perfect. Now I'm right on Jason's wheel, third wheel. And now we can see how the last half a lap can play out. I'm still expecting, especially now that the morning cranks riders behind me, looking for that early attack to come anytime. That's sort of the MO at this point. And here we go. He goes. I announce it. Jason goes to follow, and I go to follow Jason. Again, my emphasis this week was, once again, try to turn my head and pay more attention. So I was able to see that he was going to attack earlier than I normally would with my head down. So here we go. He went early, but we're right on his wheel. This is the ideal place to be. And then Jason goes, a little bit. I just make sure I stay on his wheel. No one can jump in between us. Then we see Jason slows down a little bit, and we end up having the rider come back around us again. So now really in a great spot, third wheel, exactly where I want to be. Now that we're coming into that last corner with the sprint, the thing I kept harping on myself over and over and over again the last few weeks, or certainly looking at the video, is don't go early. Don't go early. It's a long sprint. You don't need to sprint early. Conserve it for a big sprint at the end. So that's what I'm thinking. Okay, I'm coming into the early part of the sprint. But then I see him go. Jason's boxed in, so Jason's not going to be able to lead me out anymore. And so I just go. I hammer it, but I'm able to stay on the inside of this guy, so now I am doing less distance than him. I get that inside route. Feel good. Hitting a little bit higher power numbers relative to previous races, and I end up passing him fairly early in the sprint and end up finishing at the front of this group. And with 2 out in front of us, that means I took another third place, same as I did last week. So, another good finish. Obviously, I'm frustrated just in that I was in that break. I felt like I probably could have out-sprinted those guys in that break, and had I not taken any poles, then maybe I stay with them. So certainly a mistake there, but part of you just want to be a participant. You want to do your fair share. And so I was in a group of 3. I thought I should do a third of the work, but that's not how they were thinking, right? They felt good still, and they were thinking, okay, as soon as he's done, let's attack. Let's go again. Let's drop him. And so I should have just sat in the back and done the strategically smart thing to make sure I stayed with them. Still ended up taking third. It's a great finish, certainly. I'm not upset about it. Just it's good to have lessons learned after each race, and I definitely felt like there were some lessons learned in terms of what to do when you get in that breakaway that I can take into the next set of races. So that's the end of it. Again, third place, and looking forward to next week. Thanks for watching.